A huge thank you to the patrons of this channel. Thank you guys for all the support.
The only way to end this once and for all. I have set the, got it. Now to get back to the surface and... What? My legs! Something is grabbing at my legs. They're pulling me under. Abigail! Abigail! Welcome to the Twisted Tentacle Inn. I am your innkeeper, and today we'll be talking about Silas Marsh. The timid library intern Abigail Foreman made her way to the docks in search of assistance from seamen, as they were known to be experts in the alignment of the stars for the purposes of navigation. It was at the docks that she met Silas Marsh, a burly and manly sailor who clearly had seen his share of the world. She told Silas of a strange tome she found that seemed to predict something. The stars and their alignment, formulas calculating a specific date, seemed to predict some important cosmic event. This would seem fictitious except for the fact that the predictions and alignment of the stars seemed to be actively changing within the strange tome. Silas and Abigail headed to a town called Innsmouth, a place where, coincidentally, Silas shared a family lineage. The Marsh family seemed to be hiding many secrets within Innsmouth, and something about their look was strange. As they investigated further, Silas and Abigail were being actively antagonized by residents of Innsmouth as they continued to uncover a deep conspiracy that could lead to the doom of humanity. At the conclusion of their adventure, Silas and Abigail managed to stop the conspiracy by setting explosives beneath Devil Reef in Innsmouth, but Silas almost met his own demise as creatures beneath the waves pulled him under, calling into his mind to join them in their rise to the surface. In Arkham Horror, the card game, Silas Marsh is a survivor with a 2 in willpower, 2 in intellect, 4 in agility, and a 4 in combat. He has the Drifter keyword and a health of 9 and a sanity of 5. His special ability reads, Reaction. After you reveal a chaos token during a skill test you're performing, return a skill you committed to this test to your hand. Limit once per round. His Elder Sign effect is a +0. You may commit a skill from your discard pile to this test. After this test ends, return that skill to your hand instead of discarding it. He has 2 signature cards, Sea Change Harpoon and Silas's Net. The Harpoon is a 3-cost asset with a combat and wild icon. It takes up a hand slot and has an action ability that reads, Fight. You get +1 combat for this attack. If you committed 1 or more skills to this test, this attack deals +1 damage. When this skill test ends, you may return Sea Change Harpoon to your hand to return all your committed skills to your hand instead of discarding them. The Net is a 2-cost asset with an agility and a wild icon. It takes up a hand slot and has an action ability that reads, Evade. You get +1 agility for this evasion attempt. If you succeed and you committed 1 or more skills to this skill test, you may automatically evade another enemy engaged with you. When this skill test ends, you may return Silas's Net to your hand to return all of your committed skills to your hand instead of discarding them. His signature weakness is Siren Call. Its revelation effect reads, Put Siren Call into play in your threat area. As an additional cost to commit 1 or more cards to a skill test, you must pay 1 resource for each matching skill icon those cards have. You can spend 2 actions to discard Siren Call. Silas Marsh also has alternate cards that came as a bonus for purchasing the novella The Deep Gate. They're officially called replacement cards, and you can choose to use them or the cards that come with the official deluxe expansion from Innsmouth Conspiracy, or you can choose to use both sets. If you use one signature card, you must use its corresponding signature weakness as well. The signature card is Nautical Prowess, a skill card with a willpower, an intellect, and a wild icon. It has text that reads, If a chaos token with a negative modifier is revealed during this test, either draw 1 card or Nautical Prowess gains 2 wild icons. His replacement signature weakness is Dreams of the Deep. It is a skill card with 2 wild icons and has text that reads, This skill's icons subtract from your skill value instead of adding to it. If the skill test fails, return the skill to your hand. Forced. If Dreams of the Deep is in your hand at the end of your turn, reveal it and take 2 damage. Let's break all of these down, starting with his 2 signature assets from the Innsmouth Conspiracy Deluxe expansion. The Harpoon and Net are very similar in function in that they both take up a hand slot and provide a bonus to combat-related actions. The +1 to evade is better than the +1 to combat, but the +1 damage if you commit skill cards to the test is much better than the ability to evade a second enemy in the same action. This is because being engaged with 2 enemies at once is not a common occurrence, where most enemies have more than 1 health. So dealing an extra point of damage is going to provide far more value than the additional evade, especially if you're playing in solo. Both cards allow you to return them to your hand and return all of your committed skill cards to your hand. This is a fantastic ability that allows for some amazing combos. Because this ability happens when the skill test ends, you get the full benefit of the committed skill cards and get them back to be used again if needed. For example, if you committed Resourceful from the Path to Carcosa expansion, you can pick up a card from your discard pile back to your hand and have Resourceful available again to commit to another test, and thereby getting another card from your discard pile back into your hand. The best part about this ability is that it doesn't require the test to succeed in order to get its benefits, so a failed test still allows you to take back all of your skill cards into your hand. This is awesome for those times when you commit a ton of cards only to pull the autofail token from the bag. Just be sure to have a way to deal with that creature after you've pulled your weapon or net back to your hand, or you could be in serious trouble. His signature weakness, Siren Call, is pretty rough in that generally you'll want to be playing a low resource build to make use of Dark Horse from the Undimensioned and Unseen Mythos pack. Dark Horse is a card that was made for Silas, and I highly recommend using it, but Siren Call really puts a damper on that strategy. The best way to deal with it is to just find a way to spend the 2 actions and get rid of it quickly. It's pretty debilitating, so it's a price that you're pretty much going to have to pay. His replacement signature is Nautical Prowess. Even though it's just a skill card, in Silas it becomes very valuable, and I think it's very worthwhile to add to his deck. Silas wants to draw cards and doesn't have too many ways to do so. He can alternatively get a major boost to a test and ensure success. His replacement weakness, Dreams of the Deep, is actually not very damaging. Silas can handle the damage for a few rounds if it comes to it, but subtracting 2 from a skill test is not really the end of the world. Since you'll probably pack a ton of skill cards in a Silas deck, you'll be able to get rid of it pretty easily. Honestly, I think his replacement cards are better than his official ones, which is usually not the case in Arkham Horror the card game. But the good news is that you're allowed to use both sets of signatures if you choose to do so. Silas is pretty straightforward in the way that he plays. He doesn't have to waste skill cards unnecessarily due to his ability to take back a skill card that would have been pointless, either because you would have succeeded without it or you would have failed even with its modifier. But even with this ability to use up skill cards only when needed, you'll usually find yourself clamoring for more cards in your hand. So you'll probably want to pack a lot of card draw if possible. The neutral skill cards from the core set are great options since they draw you a card if you succeed on the test. Survivors don't have a ton of card draw available to them, but pack what you can because you will be needing cards in your hand in order to commit skills to skill test. Also, pack enough assets to get the job done. Fire Axe from the Dunwich Legacy Deluxe expansion and Madame Lebranche from the Phantom of Truth Mythos pack are great choices. Also, pack cards that help you grab clues without taking a test, such as Look What I Found from the core set. Scrounge for supplies from 1,000 Shapes of Horror Mythos pack is a great choice for Silas since it allows him to pick up cards from his discard pile and use them again if needed. Silas is a great solo investigator, but will probably struggle to find his place in a 4-player group. He doesn't have the space for a lot of cards that can help deal with a ton of enemies, and doesn't have a lot of cards that can accelerate clue gathering. He also can't help with skill tests in the same way that Mintai Fan can. He can help, but in a multiplayer game, you may find other investigators are doing more productive things than you are. You may be able to work in some cards to help with this, but it'll definitely be more challenging to make him more productive for a multiplayer game than for a solo game. Silas is a very fun investigator, and I really like the investigators that can maximize the use of skill cards like he can. He plays very lean and fast, without the need for complex combos and janky interactions. Just plop down a weapon and an ally and off you go. So, what are some cards that you like to use for Silas Marsh? Let me know in the comments down below. And that does it for today's video on Silas Marsh. A big thanks to Big Stupid Grin for helping with recommendations for this video. Check out his channel in the links below. I do hope this video was helpful for you. If it was, please consider clicking the like button as it tells me to make more videos like it. If you have any questions, leave them
down there
in the comments below. This is your Innkeeper from the Twisted Tentacle Inn. Check in anytime. I'll talk with you then.